understand that this is an epidemic that is not confined to any one city. This is not just a Louisville problem.
LMPD has released crime data for the first half of 2017.
LMPD was one of the first police agencies in the country to put their crime data online, so we've been transparent from day one and leading the nation in that effort.
What does the data show? We'll take a closer look at the crime trends and what's influencing them on the 502 Report. Welcome to the 502 Report. I'm Nikki Lechniak. There's good news overall. The city's crime rates are down, but there's been an uptick in one specific area, violent crime.
We invested in hiring an additional 55 new positions for LMPD in the last year, and at our all-time high of LMPD manpower with just under 1,300 officers.
The increasing violent crime in our community has many folks concerned, including Mayor Fischer. I recently had a chance to sit down with him and talk about what's contributing to the problem and some of the city's efforts to help address it.
It's a wonderful opportunity and it's an honor to be a mayor. But one of the toughest parts to me is just when a homicide comes in, especially if there's a bunch that happen quickly together. Each time you get a notice like that, it's like a punch in the gut because you know that there's a lot of suffering on the other side of this. You know there's a complicated story on the other side of it. And you know that there's an awful lot of people working really hard in the community to prevent this type of stuff from happening. 2/3 of American cities right now are seeing an increase in violent crime or homicides. What we've seen in Louisville for the first 6 months of 2017 is a decrease in overall crime of 4%, but homicides are up year over year. We were in the top tier of big cities with least homicides. Now we're a little bit above average. So to people it feels like there's been a big increase. There has been. But compared to other cities like New Orleans or Baltimore or St. Louis, whose rates are 3 to 4 times ours, it's not as big a problem. That being said, one homicide's too many, and what you find in most every city is that homicides are concentrated in a small number of neighborhoods. And if you're living in one of those neighborhoods, it is a problem. It is a significant problem. You're concerned about your safety, your kids' safety, your grandkids' safety. What's behind homicides in particular are a whole bunch of systems issues. Where you were born, how you were raised, is there opportunity in the neighborhood? Did you have access to education, to health care, to a job where you were born? So these are systems that take a long time to change. I had a good experience when I was in New Orleans. They've been at this work for about 5 years or so and are approaching their city solution from a comprehensive standpoint like we are for building capacity in neighborhoods, focusing on the people that are producing the most violent crime in the city, and then focusing on places. New Orleans has seen a 20% reduction in homicides when they compare these past 5 years to 5 years before that. When you take a look at LMPD, that focuses on people and places. So who are the folks that are creating the most violence in the city? Most of them are into illegal drugs, and that is their business, and violence is how they enforce it. So how do you identify the folks? How do you build cases against them? And then how do you remove them so neighborhoods can be safe? And then the balance of it is how do you build capacity in young people so they choose not to go down a life of crime. And that's where the majority of the effort is of the Office for Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods. Kind of on the leading edge of most cities right now. We're making good progress. The key is you just got to stick to the good plan and involve the whole community in the plan. If you're going about minding your own business, the odds of you being involved with a homicide are very low. That being said, there are unfortunate, very unfortunate incidents that take place in the city. We've seen that with kids that have been caught in the crossfire. This is that danger of living in one of those hotspot neighborhoods where there is a disproportionately higher level of crime as well. So I do not want to minimize the loss of those folks. It's kind of that boiled up frustration to say, you know, kind of, boy, we're better than this as a people. And we got a lot of people working hard to try to prevent this. And so you want all that to come together so that you don't have any homicides. And that maybe is not a realistic expectation, but that's what people deserve, and that's what we want to always be working towards. Fortunately, the plan that we've developed over the years, and we've had national experts look at it, it's as good as any in the country. Then the question is, how are you executing the plan? How are you improving the plan? And is there a call out to citizens to get involved? So when people say, what can I do? It depends on where you want to plug in.
So let me see.
All most people want
That's wonderful.
is a loving adult in their life, some kind of structure, some kind of expectations, and support, and they'll do fine. So if somebody doesn't have that from their natural environment, I think it's part of our obligation and part of the joy of life, if you will, for everybody to step in and help out. It works. But none of us choose how we're born, where we're born, but what we can shape is the future. And to do that in a productive way, we have to lean into these issues so we understand each other better, and most importantly, understand that we're all interconnected. We're all interdependent. And I joke sometimes, whether we like it or not, we are. So how we come together in a powerful way, in an inclusive way, is what the strength of our city is, the strength of our country as well. That's how we're going to compete and create opportunities for us, for our kids and our grandkids, build a great city and build a great country.
While narcotics, gangs, and guns are contributing to the problems in the community, some say it's a flood of illegal substance that's actually to blame. Since 2012, almost 200 million doses of opioids have been prescribed in Jefferson County. That's 258 per person, every man, woman, and child living in Louisville.
In addition to the costs in human life and human potential, the opioid crisis has put a severe strain on our healthcare facilities, our police, our emergency responders, our jail, and our justice system.
Now, it's time to hold someone accountable.
Congress put wholesale distributors in a position of trust as the gatekeepers of highly addictive opioids because the chances for abuse were so great. These distributors failed in that obligation, either refusing or turning a blind eye to their duties to monitor, identify, report, and stop suspicious shipments.
So, like dozens of other cities and counties in the United States, the city of Louisville filed a federal lawsuit against the 3 largest wholesale opioid distribution companies.
It's time for the companies that started this epidemic and turned a blind eye to its consequences to take responsibility for the devastation that they've caused.
If you vape or smoke hookah as of August 21st, there are a few changes to the city's smoking ordinance that you should be aware of.
If anyone asks me if they can vape in here, I say no. I think it's just kind of disturbance to everyone else in the restaurant.
The new law that goes into effect August 21st will prohibit the use of e-cigarettes in indoor public settings. A lot of individual facilities were already in compliance with this ordinance. We know that the 2 leading causes of death in our community are cancer and heart disease, and those are attributed directly to smoking and subsequently to secondhand emissions from smoking. So we really want to encourage everyone that is smoking to quit smoking, but this law is more about protecting individuals who do not smoke and ensuring that we have good indoor air quality.
Just like anything, it's going to take time for people to let it sink in, just when you couldn't smoke in the bars anymore. But yeah, I think it's going to be great. I just think all establishments should be non-smoking, whether it's vaping or smoking regular cigarettes.
At-risk 2nd and 3rd grade students will now have access to after-school and summer science club programming at the California Community Center.
We want to join the effort to excite some of the youngest school children to foster a love of learning, to develop a skill set in math, science, and to create a solid educational foundation that can lead them out of poverty and into a successful career.
Clariant, a Swiss company with a plant in Louisville, is donating $75,000 for 3 years of the camps. Earlier this summer, Wyandotte and Shawnee Parks saw their basketball courts completely overhauled. Now, a new dream court funded by a WNBA player and LMPD is open at Russell Lee Park, especially for younger players.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
A dream court is my dream. When I was little, it was my dream to be on a court because everybody let me just be free and let me be who I was supposed to be. When we were naming this, there was no better name than Dream Court because it was my dream. And here we are, giving other kids a dream to be what they can be. This is our 39th court we've opened around the country, and we wanted to put a dream court in this community.
I think the kids 12 and under are going to enjoy playing on this court. And we were ready, and I had to tell the kids that they were going to get a new court, and it was going to be a youth court.
Dee Dee and I played against each other in the first Women's Professional League. What a blessing to be able to see her again. And Look what she's doing. She's doing more important stuff now with the kids in the city than when we were professional athletes.
I'm very impressed on her coming all the way to Louisville, being from New York, to do something fun for our kids. Her saying that we are teammates for life, I think that's a beautiful thing.
Sports is a great connector of people, and it really doesn't matter if you're white or black or girl or boy or rich or poor. Once you're on the court, you're a teammate. We want to do things for children, and we want to give them hope, and sports is healthy, and it's one of the best things you can do to teach teamwork and responsibility.
We want to set up some 12 and under youth basketball leagues. We want to do it for the community to come out and see kids doing something positive.
You know, I'm Generation Now. We get a chance to influence Generation Next. So let's give them some positive stuff.
It takes hard work to accomplish things you want. And that's what we do with our youth at Southwick. Just take it and be around positive people, and positive things are going to come your way, just like this basketball court.
I opened this book and looked at it. I said, wow, looks really good.
You might not recognize him, but you've probably seen his work. Thousands of photos over a 50-plus year career.
Oh, what a man, what a man, what a wonderful man. Where do you find a man like Bud Darcy? How will the story of our community as African Americans be told? Bud Darcy heard that calling, telling him that the struggle has just begun. Someone has to document that struggle, because if not, our story will not be told.
The Louisville Story Program is a local nonprofit, and we aim to strengthen our community by amplifying unheard voices and untold stories. And we do that by partnering really closely with folks in our community whose voices and stories we don't get to hear often enough. Everybody, I mentioned Bud Darcy. He has documented so much over the years, and a lot of it is stuff that no one else documented.
I like shoot mostly candid shots. You know, you catch people as they are. I usually shoot in your natural state, because that way you get better photographs. People always ask me, where were you at? Where were you standing? How'd you get this photo? So I just jokingly tell them that for $39.95 you can go to Walmart and get some invisible cream and put it on, and that's why you don't see me. I put my invisible cream on.
His photographs, you just can feel a sense of history, a sense of deep love for the community.
I saw that moment. I don't know. I just see things that ordinary people probably wouldn't have saw that. No, that's what photography is about. The moment, the Kodak moment. So that's how that came to be. If it wasn't nailed down, I shot it. That's just the way it is. It's those moments you'll never see again, and they'll never happen again. Those moments in time, yeah.
Bud Darcy's book is available at Carmichael's Bookstore and the LouisvilleStoryProgram.org's website. Bud's photo exhibit will be on display at the Muhammad Ali Center until January 2nd.
100 years after his sacrifice, the Coast Guard recently honored its only member to be lost in the line of duty in Louisville.
For the first time in its history, after saving 6,000 lives, the Coast Guard crew at the Falls lost a life on June 27, 1916. Lookout William Drizel saw a rowboat with 2 fishermen floating toward the concrete dam at the head of the falls and sounded the gong. Lieutenant Ed Farrell, boatman Edward Long, and John Munns were off like a shot across the river. Before they reached it, the men in the boat went over the dam to the bottom. The lifesavers followed in a moment, dropping 9 feet to the dashing turmoil below that capsized their boat. Scores of spectators at the wharf and on steamboats looked on in horror as lifesavers fought through the turbulence for their lives and to help the 2 fishermen. And all struggled out of the waves except one. New recruit John Munns went to the bottom and did not rise.
Today's events are honoring my great-great-grandfather, John A. Muntz, who was killed in an incident trying to save a couple boatmen from going over the falls 101 years ago.
It was on this day in 1916.
Hi guys!
The boatman Mons gave his life on the falls of the Ohio right over here in a rescue attempt. We're proud to be here today and be part of that history and continue on with that work. And it started here with the life-saving station and with John Mons.
I knew about him as a child, but I had no idea that it was such an event for the Coast Guard, that he was the only person that was ever killed in the line of duty in the inland service.
Ready, two. And we've gathered here today to honor the life, the service, the sacrifice, and the memory of boatman John Muntz, 1887 to 1916. And I think it's timely also and fitting that we pay tribute to the thoughtful establishment and honorable accomplishments of the personnel of the United States Life-Saving Service here at the Falls of the Ohio. Formed in 1881 to perform rescue and recovery of mariners who encountered the treacherous falls, this was the first and only station of the service on the inland waterways of the United States.
So this was amazing to come here today. I have now enough details that I can actually tell the story, the actual truth of what happened. So I'm going to pass that down to my descendants.
To John Muntz and his comrades in the life-saving service and those who followed in the Coast Guard, we give a thankful and well-deserved salute.
What makes a city not only inviting but welcoming to people of all backgrounds? The Office for Globalization and its community partners are doing many things right, according to Welcoming America.
We have probably some of the more diverse ethnic and national communities in the country. We have somewhere in the range of 137 different languages spoken in Jefferson County Public Schools.
YXB.
More than 160 ethnic groups and national groups here in the city. Culturally diverse, interesting city with great food and great music and interesting people are what millennials are looking for, and baby boomers as well.
So having Welcoming America here over the next 2 days, I think, is a true validation of the welcoming work we're doing in the city.
We selected Louisville because we believe that the city is incredibly innovative and very strategic, a leader among the communities that are our members and how they're welcoming newcomers to their community.
We're talking about not only that extension of the hand and that greeting to come to the city, but it also means that when someone gets here.
Some people are smart with a textbook, and other people are smart with music.
There have to be programs, processes, resources in place so that when they get here, they can integrate quickly, they can get to jobs and educational opportunities and create the life in Louisville, Kentucky that all of us already know and understand is really terrific.
We're doing the whole works for Louisville. It's going to be a multimedia case study. We will have several videos. We also will be producing a written document and highlighting on social media, photography, city efforts, and efforts by Kentucky Refugee Ministries and Catholic Charities. We'll be going to Beachmont neighborhood, and that's an area that's really been revitalized through immigrant and refugee entrepreneurs. And so we'll be talking with different people there and also visiting Cocoberry Pop, which I'm very excited about.
When we opened the business, we have 8 flavors. Now we have up to 32 flavors in the menu.
And just learning the various ways that this neighborhood has been turned around and is continuing to be turned around and attracting newcomers and millennials and being a place that people want to live. And that's something that is a lot of cities around the country would love to be able to replicate. There's about 60% of people that they're not really sure about immigrants and newcomers, not really sure what's the benefit or how they're kind of on the fence. So we're trying to produce this case study in a way that can help reach them, to help them understand the many benefits to a community for all people of welcoming.
It will certainly showcase who we are, how we do things. We're not shifting course for being a welcoming city. We're going to do what we do. And by doing that, hopefully demonstrate to other communities that you can be true to yourself, be welcoming, and have the kind of prosperity that you expect to see in the future.
WorldFest is a great place to see the many cultures of Louisville. Despite the rain and cold temperatures, about 500 people from 55 countries joined in this year's Parade of Cultures, one of the many events during the shortened 3-day WorldFest celebration.
Hi.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
August 21st was a much anticipated date because it was the first total solar eclipse in the United States since 1979. Take a look at some of the folks who gathered at Waterfront Park to check it out.
Look at that. You can actually see the hole, or where the moon is covering the light on the sun. Do you see it? I'm feeling awesome. This is really cool. So I am a science nerd. I love the universe and everything about it. We didn't get glasses, but we made these little boxes. We watched a Bill Nye video.
Just the experience, getting to see it here together, I think is really neat because it's like a once-in-a-lifetime event.
I've never experienced something like this before, so I'm excited to see when the moon covers up most of the sun. So.
Yeah, I think it's exciting. We're ready to see what happens. We've never seen it before.
Oh, Jimmy and I, we're pumped about it today. I mean, when's the last time we saw one? It was 38 years ago?
Actually, 38 years ago.
Yeah, so.
I was only, sophomore in high school then?
Well, the first one I saw, I think I was 9 years old, so had to see this one. Kind of like Woodstock or something, huh?
3 minutes away.
In case you missed it, the next total solar eclipse in the United States will be April 8th, 2024. Thanks for watching this episode of the 502 Report. Until next time, take care.
Metro TV, a public service of Louisville Metro government.